Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to have you all here. Thank you for coming. I am Rabbi Esther Reed. I work here at Rutgers University Hillel. And I just have a few words of introduction before I bring up the Hillel student president, who's going to have further words of introduction, but then we'll have our program. I just want to begin by offering thank you to our co-sponsors for tonight's event, to the Catholic Student Association here at Rutgers, to Rutgers University Student Assembly, to the Jewish Studies Department, to Rutgers Hillel, we are a co-sponsor, and I especially just want to personally thank Nelson Graff, who has been instrumental in making this happen. We can clap for Nelson. Nelson's daughter Samantha is a first-year student, and during Parent and Family Weekend, they were here for Shabbat dinner, and Nelson said to me, "You know, I heard this idea for a program. There's a priest that you really should bring to campus." And I said, "If there's a priest, I should bring to campus." And we went from there. And this is Ari Cole, who's put in countless hours to make this program happen. So thank you to Ari. And so here we are tonight. You are all here to hear some words from the priest who has a story to tell. But before we begin with that, I just want to frame that today is Yom Hashoah, the Holocaust Memorial Day, and that anti-Semitism is not just something from the 1930s and the 1940s. I'm going to very briefly share some anti-Semitic incidents that have happened in the last week in the United States and around the world. In Oklahoma City, residents found anti-Semitic flyers on their driveways. In Florida, a neo-Nazi group is planning a protest against a sheriff who called anti-Semites scumbags. In New York, a Bronx woman says that a man threw a concrete slab through her window because she had an Israeli flag on display. In Germany, Muslims called for death to Israel and death to the Jews in Berlin. In Finland, a fascist party leader was charged over an anti-Semitic tweet. In Poland, there was a harrowing anti-Semitic display in a rural town in southeastern Poland where residents hung and burned a doll marked with Jewish stereotypes and a sign that said Judas 2023. In Israel, there's anti-Semitism in the form of terrorism on a regular basis. A little over a week ago, a woman and her two daughters were shot as they were driving to go on vacation. All three of them were murdered. And in Israel, an Italian tourist in Tel Aviv was hit by a car that rammed him intentionally as he was on the street. The Jewish holiday of Passover just ended this past Thursday night, and Friday I came to work Friday morning, my first time at work since Tuesday. I took off a couple of days for the holiday, and I discovered 3 anti-Semitic incidents here at Rutgers, New Brunswick. On Wednesday morning, 3:30 in the morning, 3 students were walking down the street and they tore down the banner that was hanging right in front of Hillel that said "Free Trip to Israel." We have video footage. We reported it to the Rutgers police and they're investigating it. On Thursday, there was a Black Israelite group that held a rally on Voorhees Mall, right across the street. Voorhees Mall's right here. And this Black Israelite group was spouting anti-Semitic rhetoric. Many of you might remember the shooting in Jersey City in December 2019, where Black Israelites targeted a kosher grocery store. And also on Friday, I received a video from the Anti-Defamation League that there's a Rutgers professor, David Letwin, who had a webinar where he justified the use of force by Hamas in firing rockets into Israel and other problematic statements about Jews and Zionism. So my words of introduction is just to say, this is not history. This is something that's happening every day, different states around the United States and countries all around the world. And so it is so appropriate that we continue to talk about it and speak out against it. And I want to thank all of you for being here and invite forward Hillel student president Michael Finkelstein, who has more words of introduction.
Just for them. Get into the introduction. I've been to Poland twice. The second time was this past summer. I got to lead a group of teams to Poland just to bear witness to everything that you can see there. And afterward, we did a little exercise saying, you're going to go home. This has been a week where you got around 4 hours of sleep every night. You traveled across the country and at a rapid pace. You spend hours and hours and hours on the double-decker bus, just going from place to place to place, and someone's going to try to ask you a question of how did it go? And they don't want more than a sentence answer. So what is your sentence going to be? And we did that exercise, and different people gave their answers. But then there was this one girl who responded that my answer to that question would be no. Don't ask me that stupid question. You know, I was there for a week. I witnessed the remains of genocide from not so long ago. Don't ask me expecting a single sentence answer. If you want to know how it's been, go there yourself. You can see what there is to see. Then you try to answer that question and you see it's kind of impossible. So again, it's not for everyone to see places to witness genocide. But it's something that's important to learn, to see, and to memorialize. And Father Desbois is actually someone who helps us do that. It helps us memorialize. And just a little introduction to everything he's accomplished. It is my honor to introduce Father Patrick Desbois. Father Desbois is the founder of the International Human Rights Organization. I'm sorry if I pronounced this incorrectly. Yachad is a prolific author, distinguished professor at Georgetown University, historian, forensic detective, and world-renowned human rights activist. He has committed himself to a lifelong effort to fight the disease of genocide and bring solace to its victims. For more than 15 years, Yahadi Anun has worked tirelessly to collect testimonies of eyewitnesses and identify and document sites of mass crimes committed against European Jews and Roma by the Nazis and their collaborators during the so-called Holocaust Black Holes. The meticulous forensic study has led to the identification of nearly 2,900 execution sites, while interviewing more than 7,000 eyewitnesses on the crimes committed by the Nazi death squads. Many of those interviewed have never before spoken of massacres. Many of the sites have never before been documented, and many remain unmarked even today. While Father Desbois and his team search for the last more grave, their mission has evolved to encompass the threat of modern-day genocide through hatred and anti-Semitism. Yachad Anun has taken their findings and built a system to inform the global public of the blueprints of genocide, revealing chilling parallels. We just heard so much. Chilling parallels between the Nazi atrocities and those committed today. Before we actually hear him speak, we're going to watch a video. But I'd like to thank you, Father Patrick Desbois, for being here, and Father Rutgers Hillel.
probably showed you. With a boat, with a jacket, she brought us at the end of the village. She showed 8 years. I'd like to find something to say. If you are the 14 that was training, the woman went to Korea live before the 10 years. And because she was told mom, the same goal, the mom told her original goal. And so she was told to go or to go to practical. And she said, celebrate all my school mates, three school mates arrived and then go. My mom came back from the market and she told us she was very well because the religion is a film. So she did it and we went. And she said it was the first shooting we got a radio films, so everything. But from the second shooting, then things. The Jewish women before being in the place so very Jewish, because they don't want to give them to the German. And sometimes we find again the way the twins, the diarrhea. And I say it's a lot just as this girl just before she was shot. Every time I find it, I say, we found it, finally we found it. I never pray because it's to respect the Jewish believers and living in prayer. So the fact is to say finally we found. Anyway, when I go with my team, I say don't forget the people we wait for us. When you were pure, you were not Jew. You were not gypsy, you were not gay, you were not current, you were not parties. Why you would be afraid? So you want to watch. People are attracted. People to watch people being killed when it is they will have no risk. One lady, by example, she told me I went to see all the Jews. She was 17 and she was a Jew. And I said, why did you stay to see all these students? She said, no, it was interesting for me. And I heard this phrase now hundreds of times, interesting for me. I realized also I totally live here. You know, when I knock at the door, there's a train anywhere. He opens the door, and I don't know at that moment he says you work in foods. And I discovered that in nature. Me, when I was young, I was seen as a killer and out of faces, the psychotic, monsters, and the savior, when nice people, unfortunately, someone like that. So, yeah, everybody can do it. We can do it. It's why we have to teach people to say one day we will be responsibility. Sometimes you can think in America you're in the level of protection. But that's not true. There's only one planet. It is burning soon. You're aware when it begins, it's a disease. The people who spread the disease are smokers. We have never to underestimate it. It's a big mistake. You know, when I was young, people told me, don't speak to them. I'm old, but not to speak to them. Every they are still old, but suddenly around building, I was now 40 years, 45 years, which one I'm driving lots of people behind themselves. So I learned and said, what a mistake. And I say, you must stay in the fighting position. The worst would be to sleep well and to drink because we wake up in and we had to do sometimes because father and risk to hide. So me, I always say I believe in minority. I believe in minority will stand up and carry the flag, and after we can draw people behind. So when I teach in Georgetown, where we teach in other places, I always say, one day perhaps we'll be part of this community.
It's a very special day because it's a day and place consecrated to Shoah, to Holocaust, and birth in Israel. Very moving day when you hear the silence, the siren. And I would say, I imagine that for the people who know me like you as a person, the people who don't know me, they can say, why a priest is coming invited by a rabbi the day for Holocaust? That's a real question. I am from Burgundy, in France, much well known for the wine that's for Holocaust. And when I was young, when I was a student, I was very far from that. I was a student in mathematics. My dream job was to be a mathematics teacher in university in Africa. And I learned the language and I went many times in Africa. And I was sure to make my life there. But suddenly I realized that my grandpa was deported in 42, in July 42, as a French, not as a Jew, not as a communist. He has been deported in Ukraine. And he came back alive and he grew me when I was a child. And I asked him many times, why you don't speak? Because he refused to say anything. He didn't even know the name of the place where he was deported. He finally said the place was called Ravaruska. Ravaruska means Ravas the Russian. And it's a small city in Ukraine. He passed away, refusing to say anything. Only one time I said, why you don't speak? Perhaps you killed the people. And he told me, no, I was a prisoner. We had no food, no drink, but outside the camp was worse than the camp. And I didn't understand what it meant. But one day, by hazard, I was preparing a pilgrimage to meet John Paul II in Czechoslovakia in the year 19, it was still Soviet Union. And I made a mistake. I lost my way with my car. It was a night. And I asked the people, where am I? And they told me, you are near Rus. I was just near the village of my grandpa deportation. So in one night, blew in my mind that Holocaust was the key of my life. And I was very far from it. In my generation, we learned nothing about Holocaust. Absolutely nothing. It was not in the school program, it was not in the TV program. We spoke only about the deportation of the communists. I know that in America it was not the topic, but in Europe, because we knew, and we knew nothing about the Jews. So I decided to go to Israel to study Holocaust. I went to Yad Vashem. I went 7 times. I was even teaching in Yad Vashem. But after I say, okay, it didn't happen in Jerusalem, I have to go back to where it happened. And so I went back to Ravaruska, and nobody wanted to speak at the beginning. People say no, no. They killed them in secret. And I knew that in that village, they shot 18,000 Jews. And in my village, we shot 2 Germans, and everybody knows it. So, but nobody wanted to speak. I came 5, 6 times to Ravaruska with always the same question: where are the Muslims of the Jews? And I say I was the nudnik of the village with only one question: where are the Jews? And finally, And finally, it's because I'm here today. I met a lot of people who made it possible. And first, Ukraine. The mayor of the city, Yaroslav, without my request, he brought me in a forest. And in that forest were 50 farmers. And I asked them, why are they there? They say, Patrick, we are coming to the mausoleum of the last Jews of Yaroslav. And in fact, the mayor had localized 50 witnesses, non-Jews, Ukrainians, were present at the killing. So we entered in the forest, and every person was saying what he saw. And I had no camera, it was a shock for me. The first one, he said, his name was Martin, I remember. He said, I was keeping a cow with my mom, and suddenly we saw a German arriving alone, turning in the village with a motorcycle and a dog. And everybody was asking, why a German is coming alone? And he left. In fact, now we know that in every village, they send an architect. This architect is a German. He goes to the city hall and he asks how many Jews are still alive. And he will calculate the volume of the mass grave he has to dig to put the corpse. There are two kinds of mass graves. Mass grave when they shoot from the top and people fall down. Mass grave with stairs when they force the Jew to lay down and lay on the corpse. It's called sardine and pack. And effectively, Martin told me the day after arrived 3 Germans with a truck and 30 young Jews, and they forced them to dig. You know, the people who speak to us are poor people. I have interviewed 8,000 of them from all these countries. And he said the Germans were worried during the digging, so they asked a table from the village and they put a gramophone to listen German music. And one was playing harmonica. You know, harmonica was à la mode at that period. And he broke his harmonica, and us with metallic detector, we found pieces of German harmonica, so he knew it was true. After the Germans said to the Jews, go out of the grave and take rest. But secretly, one Ukrainian policeman, he went down and he put explosives. After they said to the Jews, go on digging, and the 30 Jews exploded. I will never forget an old woman called Maria. She had a blue scarf, and she came to me, she said, Father, they asked me to climb in the trees to take the pieces of the corpse of the Jews to hide them with branches. You know, in Soviet Union, people speak very rough, not with image. They told me, that tree was a leg of somebody, in one place was an arm of somebody. And she said, we were hiding that, so after we could bring Jews. And Martin told me, yes, after we brought trucks and trucks and trucks of Jews, in 1 day and a half, they shot with 2 shooters on me, 1,500 Jews. It was the end of the Jews of Rutgers. I will never forget, I saw a witness, he was much younger. So I said, how old you were? He told me I was 4 years. I said, don't tell me that you were present at the killing. He said, yes, because the Germans, they had a table with a carabine and they had a box of candies. So from one end they were shooting, from the other end they were giving candies to the children of the village. So I was coming to the table. It was a shock. I understood that the Jews were killed in public. And everybody came to watch. I understood also the neighbors were ready to speak. But I can't tell you the truth. I wanted to run back to France and to forget it and to say I found the secret of my grandpa, but that's it. And when I came back to the car, the mayor of the city, the Ukrainian guy, he told me, Patrick, what I did for you for 1 village, I can do for 100 villages. And I will never know why he told me that. And I will never know why I said yes. I came back to Paris. I met the Cardinal of Paris, was Jew by family. He told me, Patrick, I know the story because they shot my Jewish family the same way in Beijing, in Poland. I went to New York. I met Israel Singer, was the manager of the World Jewish Congress. And we decided to build this non-profit called Yahad Inonu. It's a silly name, because when I speak to Catholic, they say, what is Yahad? When I speak to Jews, they say, what is Inunu? When I speak to regular people, they understand absolutely nothing. So, but we have this name. So now we have interviewed 8,000 people. We have found the mass grave of 2 million Jews. We have still 2 years to work to find the 200,000 Jews missing. The first thing I would like to tell you, you must realize that by shootings, it's 2 times the victim of Auschwitz. 2 times. The Auschwitz victims, the Jewish victims is 1,000,000.1. By shooting is 2,000,000.2. And people don't remember. So when you kill people, even millions, even Jews, in the middle of the population, with no secret, people will forget. It was my first question, why even the Jews don't know? Most of them, if you go in the street today in New York and you say Holocaust, if they will say something, they will say Auschwitz. Me, I teach, I'm a professor in Georgetown, and I see my students, even the Jewish students, they know very little, and even less every year, because now story of grandpa perhaps, but not grandpa. So you know, memory stops at grandpa. So when it's grandpa, it's okay, but it's far away. So why is it important to teach that? Because all these crimes were done by somebody. Don't forget that the killers were German, educated German. To drive a team of killers, you needed to have a PhD in law. Only one leader has no PhD. Because Hitler said they need to have a very good understanding of the German law. So it means high-level education doesn't protect you to be a killer. Because education in Germany was good. It was even the best in Europe. So I would like you to think, I would like not you to make not conference, but to make a time of thinking about humanity. You know, Hitler killed the people in Poland. One Jew per 10 has been shot. There are mass graves everywhere, but nobody goes to see. People go to Auschwitz and bye-bye. There are mass graves all the way. Between your airport and Auschwitz, you have mass graves all the way. Why to go to watch? It's only Jews who have been shot. They killed 1,500,000 in Ukraine. They killed minimum 400,000 in Russia. They killed 500,000 in Belarus. They killed an amount of people we don't know exactly in Romania, in Moldavia, in Transnistria, in Lithuania, in Estonia, in Latvia. So you know, when I began the investigation, you say bad Ukrainian, oh, very anti-Semitic. After you go to Poland, you say, oh, bad Polish. After you go to Russia, you don't say bad Russian because you lose your visa. So, but that's the end. You understand it's not a national disease. It's a human disease. I would dream, I met recently German diplomats, and I say, I would have dreamt it would be a German national disease. We close your country with wars, and anti-Semitism will be there, it's inside, and outside we are okay. No, in no country, Hitler was missing workers to kill the Jews, and the Gypsies the same. So that's the first question. When you make a genocide, you will find workers. But now I work on other genocide, it's the same. I worked in Iraq about genocide committed by ISIS, it's the same. It's exactly the same. The second thing I would like to make you think, when you had a mass killing of Jews in a village, so the Germans arrived at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they surrender the Jewish area, and they make an announcement, you are deported to Palestine. And so people gather, thinking, yes, it's deportation, they were under Stalin, deportation was well known, so they think they go to Palestine. I remember I interviewed a Ukrainian lady. She saw her neighbor in the line, a Jewish neighbor. And the Jewish neighbor said, don't cry, we go to Palestine. And the Ukrainian lady said, no, you don't go to Palestine because I saw the mass grave behind the church this morning. And the German told her, if you speak to the Jews, you will be shot like them. So most of the Jews, they really think that perhaps it's true. So we told them, you know, Palestine is far, you have to dress very well, to take your belonging, your money, your jewels. You know, people at the period don't put money in the banks. It was all in cash and in jewels. So, and people have to gather in the main street, 5 per 5. Why 5 per 5? Because there was a counter. Himmler has an obsession to know how many Jews they shot. So it was a counter counting every day the name and transmitting in Berlin to know exactly how many Jews have been shot today. Because it was 3 years of shooting every day. From the smallest village to the biggest. And after, an official says, direction Palestine. So people begin to walk. The trick of the German is that they were digging the mass grave in the direction of the train. So that people really think they will take the train. And at one moment it's finished. Links, rechts, turn right, turn left. The Jews understand suddenly there is no train. Suddenly they understand they will be killed. So the women take out their jewels in emergency and throw them not to give to the Germans. That's why on this place we find a lot of artifacts from the women, like a David, medallion. It's very moving. You know, one day in mass grave I found 23 wedding rings. So it's very moving because I see the last chance that this woman did in 42 to throw it, not to give to the Germans. The man also destroying their money because they understand it's finished. After they make them sit down, and after they will isolate them 5 per 5 or 10 per 10. Why 5 or 10? Because they want to use 1 bullet per Jew. Because army said, okay, it's 2 million Jews. It means 2 million bullets. We are missing ammunition for the war. So they established a law: 1 bullet, 1 Jew, 1 Jew, 1 bullet. So if somebody was too slow, like a mummy, grandma, or babies, or pregnant women, they push them and bury them alive. It's why after the farmers said the mass grave was moving within 3 days. You know, they did that in public every day. What I learned is that the population was running too much. Why you were sure you were not Jew, you were not Gypsy, you were not communist, you were not gay, so why not to go? I realized that during a genocide, the neighbors are attracted to watch. You know, it's like a car accident. I don't know if you have, one day I was in Paris, I was landing, and all the subway was blocked because there was a car burning. And on the other side, people were very slow to watch and even taking pictures with telephone. People were burning in the car. It was that Holocaust. It was like a show, like a carnival. Like to say, okay, it seems the Jews are condemned to death, but us, we are alive. We are alive. And tomorrow we'll get the houses, we'll get the horses, we'll get the fork, we'll get the bed and the clothes. You know, people told me after 3 days, everybody was dressed in Jew because they washed the clothes and they were dressed with the dresses of the Jew. The other thing I would like to make you think, I discovered there is no pure anti-Semite crime. You know, we are always worried what is anti-Semitism. It's a criminal act and it's right. But you know, when an SS was killing a family in the house, he never left the belonging. He was always stealing everything. It was forbidden. From Berlin, it was forbidden to steal. But it was not right. A criminal is a criminal. Anti-Semitism makes you a criminal, but at the end, you're a criminal like any criminal. You kill, you steal, and you rape. I will give you an example. We were in a small village. We interviewed a family living near the train station. And they said that there was a shooting, it was a winter, and the Germans were very cold after the shooting. The Germans were young. And so they asked to come in the farm to be warm. And suddenly one young shooter, he took a handkerchief from his pocket, and there were 250 grams of gold teeth. And he wanted to sell it to the farmers because he said, when I will be in the Gestapo, I will not be able to sell it. You cannot know how much money the German did with this 2 million shooting. Imagine the fortune. Imagine when they kill a full village, how much gold coins. We have now archives, we work with the Soviet archives. We really make investigation. My organization is 25 people full time. It's a really team of investigation. And we found that a letter was the wife of the chief of unit of killers. He said, my darling, this week, the carpets you send are much too large for the house. It means the guy was killing the Jews who are stealing the belonging and sending that as a regular post office to his wife. And it was what happened always. So no pure anti-Semitic crime. They killed the Jews because they hated the Jews. Correct. But they killed the Jews also because they took the belongings. I'm sure if they could never take the belongings, would be much less victims. And also they killed the Jews because they wanted to rape the girls. In every Gestapo, there were sex slaves. Nobody wanted to speak about that. And when I discovered that, people say, oh, no. Because in Berlin, it was forbidden for an SS to touch a Jewish girl. I say, come on, a criminal is a criminal. They were far from Berlin, and they didn't care. I was in a village. The farmers told me we had 34 sex slaves, Jewish sex slaves in the Gestapo. And at the end, they were pregnant. So the German said, we are not the courage to shoot them, so we call an open unit of Germans to come to shoot them. And all the village saw it because, of course, this Jewish girl, they knew it was the end. So they were in a truck to go to the mass grave, and they asked to say goodbye to all the village. So imagine these trucks of young Jewish girls pregnant say bye-bye to everybody and being shot. And now in every village I ask, where is the mass grave of the girls? I say that because I discovered that anti-Semitism, like racism, like hate, makes you a killer. It's a criminal ideology. It's not freedom of speech. But it makes you a criminal, and a criminal is a criminal. He's attracted against you because you're a Jew. He's also attracted about your belonging and attracted about rape. So now what I will use is the interactive map to show you how we present it. Eva, perhaps you can help. So this interactive map is accessible. It's online, and all this group at the first one, they know it. So you see the number of points, blue points and red points, don't pay attention. Each point is a place of killing site. So it goes from Western Poland until end of Russia. I say that because you see there is not even two space between 2 points. It was a continent of extermination. Don't forget that nobody wants to think about that. When we make March of the Living, we will never go there. 2 million Jews, but no train, no barbed wire, nothing, only the places. So let's go to one village. Let's try the village of Ravarovsky, the village where my grandpa was. All that what you see is online. So when you click on a village, immediately you will have archives. That's a picture that a German took when he arrived. Germans were crazy about souvenir because don't forget it was a colonial war. You wanted to kill the Jews, the Gypsies, the communists, and to make the Slavic people go away, and it would be Germany. So they wanted a souvenir for everything. And this souvenir picture was sent to their wife. So here it's a German soldier entering the village. Next. Same thing, they are at the center of the city. A lot of military souvenirs. Don't forget that Germans were not ashamed to do that. It's the opposite. They were very proud. And the killing of the Jews for them, it was only one step. Next. Yeah, that's the camp where my grandpa was. Next. Next, we go on the next one. This picture is very rare. It's a picture of the end of the ghetto of ours. I say that because it's a weird picture. Because as we are criminal analysts, we analyze. This man, he has a brassard. He's a polizei. He's an Ukrainian. He's not a Jew. All the other people are women. So where are the men today? They were already killed or not? And you see there is no barrier around the ghetto. Why? Because in some ghetto, we call them open ghetto. You are Jew, you are in the ghetto. If one person escapes, we kill 10 persons. So every Jew was watching the other saying, no, you don't go because we'll all die. Next. That's picture of victims. We always in our website show picture of victims because now people forget it's human being. It's 2 million human beings. It's not a number. A number is nothing. Number is a question of an accountant. Every person was killed by himself. So this picture are given by the family. Next. I always show this picture. She's mother, she's young, she's Jew, and she has been shot. I say that because people think, oh, it's old time, people were not well dressed, and they were old fashioned. No, they were like you and me. Don't forget that in Ukraine was a modern country, and most of the Jews were very modern and very integrated in the society and in business. Next. And after we have witnesses, first we try to find witnesses, first to say, yeah, this one. So that's a witness. All that is online. We have thousands and thousands of people like online, and you say that every day you try to find a new one. I say that because it's a tool you can use in your center also to train non-Jews. Because don't forget, we are the only organization who are interviewing non-Jews. Normally, people interview Jewish survivors. But we say, we have found 8,000 witnesses, non-Jews. It means 8,000 proof it really exists. So listen to him. I think the microphone will be necessary for weird.
А в цей момент, де ви були, коли ви бачили, що вони привезли? Що ви бачили? Люди, євреї, вони привезені були на фірах або на грузовиках?
Були привезені на грузовиках, сиділи, і там один машина сидів. Ми сідали, і там один одний. А два німці були біля машини з автоматами сиділи.
Пам'ятаєте, де машини стали?
І наставали тут вони ще, звідси метрів 50, потім того центру.
Скільки було машин?
Одні. Одні привезли, вигрузили, тоді поїхали по другій.
Very long interview because it's an interview like in police, so it can stay 3 hours, 4 hours. We show you only an extract is online, and if people want to know really the full story, they write to us and we send the video. You must know that more and more families are writing to us and saying, "In which mass grave is my grandma? In which mass grave is my uncle? In which mass grave is the rabbi?" And I received recently a letter, a very moving letter from a family. They wrote to me, they say, since 41 we have known you. And how to explain, because you know, when people have been massacred, when grandma perhaps has been raped, etc., etc., it's very difficult sometimes to say the truth. And sometimes I don't say everything to the family because it's very heavy to carry, because it's a crime. It's a crime. Let's see another one. She was one of my first witnesses. She was a child and she went to see a refugee.
У нас була церква єврейська, ми там ходили молити, то в той день, то їх всіх дівчат вступили і вигнали звідти, і так вели їх на Рустрі, там, це їх синагоги, де вони там були, так само.
А ви саме скільки раз побачили розстріли?
Там пустили. Кожен раз, коли діти зі школи ходили і йшли, бачили, знаєте, тоді дивились, то ведуть в сторону, то в сторону ведуть, там на стрітні, крутили їх бідні, страшне крутили. Спасайте нас. Як хтось підійшов до єврея, щось хотів помочити, щось йому дати, чи їсти, чи що. Зараз забирали стріляти людей, бо ніхто не йшов, бо боялись люди.
Німці ходили за євреями, шукати їх, і до кожного будинку заходили, ніколи не судили. І скільки вихідців було? Скільки заходило в будинок?
Я ж і стояли зараз, будинку стояли багато, було 10 чоловік, зброї, і все. Окружували зараз ту місцевість, де вони заходили шукати.
Коли німці приходять в дім, так, за євреями, то вони їх виходять і так відходять на двірями, чи їх багато, їх збирають, а потім ведуть.
Як десь багато є, тримають їх, пружили і пільнують, а решту йдуть, шукають знову і ведуть там 10 чоловік, чи скільки, туди ведуть їх, туди на Русі. А поки вже останній час, то вони там буває, як взяли, значить, зараз 3 дівчини, 4 і ведуть на розстрілі. Та яма велика.
А от ввечері вже як постріляли з євреїв, то вони закривали яму, чи
Ні, закривали, вони день знов ходили, знов. То так було десь 2 місяці. В ту яму загрузились, збирали, і туди ходили їх, потім вже загорнули бульдозером, загорнули в ту яму.
як стріляли євреїв, чи перед тим роздягали, дали їм роздягатися, чи
Так, і що вони було, що мали, що стукали, що так туди бігали, не роздягали.
коли вели євреїв до ями, ті німці, то вони самі ті, що вели, ті стріляли, чи там були стрільці якісь?
Ті самі стріляли, так, ті самі стріляли, і то інакше подали, як хтось там кусок хліба, а от стріли, ті навки десь побачив, інакше воно брали нашу застрілили. Яка вправа, і що не дітей.
А маленьких таких дітей, таких
Чого, що я?
младенців,
leve come chiese, liberate dal supplente, giorno sera.
Я таки не влязла.
Spiegare che dei suoi procedure funzionano to build shop, i giti shop.
Скажіть, вони коли стріляли, то вони всі падали в яму, чи підходили жінці і штовхали на чергу?
Ну так само. Я. Quando gli altri stavano nel resto, mentre Dani spiegava dei delitti,
Не було таких, що ви лишалися.
non sono state tappettinate, perché hanno stato un evento, che ho pensato, mentre freddi, potevo, alcune spiegare, anche di interesse, non mondo, eventi. Non potevo, evento, evento. O perché chiamano campo, chiamano da letto, pure da letto, chiamano. Я такого я могу.
So you see, we have found 8,000 people like that, and we are still to finish. I was in Romania 3 weeks ago with my students from Georgetown for spring break. We proposed them to make a full week on the ground, and we found 5 witnesses who never spoke. I remember an older lady, she was 91, and she explained that it was a train of death, special story in Romania, and she saw 70 corpses loaded from in front of her. And we asked her, did you speak? She said, no, the first time I speak since 1941. So I say that because this witness never spoke one time. It's why our job in my organization in Yahat was to save the memory of the genocide, because there is no survivor. So you cannot ask a Jewish survivor to speak. If a Jew was there, he's dead. He's in the mass grave. So why do we do that? Why we work on the genocide? Because I work in Iraq also, I work in Ukraine of today, attacked by the Russian. We opened also the first Holocaust museum in Guatemala, Central America. So why do we do that? We do that for different reasons. You know, Germans left their city, Stuttgart, Berlin, Köln, Frankfurt, to spend 3 years shooting babies, adults, and grandma only because they were all Jew, to eradicate the value. We never found a village where they didn't come. We never found a village where they let one Jew alive. In one village, for example, there was a young baby, he was like 1 year and a half, he was hidden under a bed. And the German wanted to grab him, to bring the family, but he could not. So he took his pistol and he shot. They never let a baby, they never let a grandma, they never let a Jew very sick. It was total eradication, one by one. It means also thousands of killers. Thousands of killers. You know, in Kiev, when they shot 33,000 Jews, they judged only 5 persons. 2,000 Germans involved, only 5 people judged. So when you were shooting Jews, you were not classified as hit, because you said I was in a military unit, I had the boss, I was following the orders. So it's also a crime without guilty. It's also a crime without memory. And why it's important? Because today the mass killers will learn. They learned. You know, one day I was in Poland a long time ago with a very well-known person, it was Soviet time, and the guy told me, Patrick, Hitler made a mistake. I say, which mistake? He told me he did Auschwitz. And I say, why is it a mistake? He told me because the Jews are coming back to see buses coming every day, but when they keep them in forests, the Jews never came back. And for me, it was difficult to listen to that. I was a young priest, but now I understand. It's true. So the mass killers today they learned. As I say, the Jews, they never again, and the mass killers, they never again Auschwitz. Every mass crime now is done by hand. You are from Israel. Bashar al-Assad in Syria, he killed 500,000 people. Where are they? In mass graves. So nobody cares. You remember genocide in Darfur? Clune, everybody went, where are they? Mass grave, nobody cares. Nobody went back. Rwanda, no Auschwitz, nobody cares. Cambodia, nobody cares. So every mass killers today say, Holocaust, my bullets is good. They kill 2 million Jews and they don't even come back and they don't even remember. So that's what you have to do. Don't forget, the mass killers study each other and copy each other. They are not to reveal the wheel. And today, in France, we have not anti-Semite people. We have 15 Jews who have been killed in 10 years in Paris because they are Jews. Nobody has been put in a camp. They have been killed. The last Jew who has been killed, it was 3 years ago. She was a survivor. She was Mrs. Knoll. And she had been burned alive by her neighbor, was Muslim. And nobody cares. When they kill the first Jew, for the young one, he has been tortured and killed. We were 15,000 people in the street, Jews and non-Jews, government and opposition. Today, they kill a Jew, nobody in the street. Why go in the street for a Jew? Because now it's usual. So I say that because, you know me, I come from France. In France, when you have such a conference, you need police all over, army, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. Here, don't wait too much. Don't wait too much. Because people, me, I feel, the Jews in America, they live like in a bubble of illusion. They say, it's not for us, America is great, we protect us. And suddenly there is a shooting in a synagogue. Hey, are we waiting for the next one? So, it's my reason also to come here to say, I know you are a strong community, I know you are a strong country, but you have also a lot of hate groups in your country. White hate groups, Islamist hate groups, who don't like the Jews at all. And they are only waiting their opportunity. And finally, I will speak of the Bible. You know, in the beginning of the Bible, Cain is killing his brother Abel. And no, I always wonder why God wanted us to know that at the beginning. Why is it in the Bible? Why is it not only a journalist article to say, okay, the first brother killed his brother, and very sad. That's it. It's not a new, it's not a Jewish, it's not an article. It's to tell us, remember that God, the first question he asked to Cain, he said, where is your brother? So Cain said, I'm alive, I live my life, I have business, I have nothing to do, it's okay. And am I the guardian of my brother? Not my question. And God said, don't you hear that the blood Abel is climbing from earth until heaven? And the commentary of Rashi says the blood, meaning the people will be killed after. Here is 2 million Jews who are waiting since 70 years. We will not be able to go on making museums and ceremony and say, we don't care, you know, you are not being killed in a camp, so we don't care. Stay on the court. We have to be conscious. We cannot build a modern country, we cannot be modern community, Jewish or Catholic, and ask millions of people who are being killed, because today, before it was the Jews, today Middle East, it's the Christian who are killed. In Black Africa today, every day they kill Christian. In Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, every day. Who cares? Who cares? Nobody. And I say, we will not be able to go on and making our life like Abel was still alive. We will not be able to ask millions of people not to cry to God from the mass grave. Thank you. Any question is possible. Yes.
There are about 200,000 unaccounted for items. How do you know how many?
Because we work on archives, what they don't tell you is that we don't work only by literary. We investigate Soviet archives. The Soviet reopened all the maps in 43, 44. 17 million of pages of archives written in Russian. A copy has been taken by Yad Vashem, a copy has been taken by Holocaust in Washington. So we have that in Paris, we have translated that. And the Soviet come. After the Germans have been judged, and many recognize the number. So we crisscross the number of the German and the number of the Soviets.
200,000 common towns.
It's mainly in Poland, because in Poland they didn't accept to recognize that one Jew per 10 was shot. Everybody was thinking everybody was in the camp, and they will say, and they know. So in fact, there are mass graves everywhere in Poland, everywhere. And now we are ready to make a statement about that and to find all of them, because now many Polish families say, strange, we are not sure my grandma was in a camp. And I say, yes, she was very old, so she could not walk very well. The German decided to shoot her. Yeah, very good. And now the Polish people accept to speak. The neighbors say everything. You have testimonies for every shooting by Polish people. Yeah.
But for the people who express any emotion from this conversation, very bad of that.
You must understand, I understand your reaction, but it's a typical American reaction. Because in Soviet Union, people had Stalin, Hitler, and Stalin. So the first thing is not to show your emotion. You know, me, when I began working in Ukraine, I was smiling. And people told me, nobody will respect you if you smile. And so only facts. Only facts. You know, when you are forbidden to speak, to think, then you are forbidden to speak. Or the opposite. So it's a Soviet mentality. Yeah.
This is somewhat related question, but on the flip side, that the interviewers, the questions are very matter of fact. There's so much for them to absorb. This is maybe a very American question, but is there, how do they decompress, process it? Do you have anything for your team to work through it?
Myself, I work with a psychoanalyst since 25 years. Otherwise, because I interviewed 8,000 here, I interview now 200 in Ukraine of today, and 400 in Iraq, etc. So it's why I say genocide is a national disease, it's a human disease. Because when you make Holocaust, you say, oh, Ukrainian are anti-Semite. When you are in Iraq, you are no Ukrainian, no Polish, and you have the same dealing with ISIS, exactly the same system. So it's really a human disease that we have to be conscious of. And I encourage my employee to have a psychoanalyst to help. Some accept, some don't accept. Some also break after a few years.
After you find the mass graves, what happens? What's the next step that you
It
do?
depends. First, when we find it, we don't show we find it. Otherwise, if we put a small signal, we will open it to look for gold. Don't forget that people have no money. The pension today in this country is $64 per month. So you have gold in your garden. So what happens actually is that we are in contact with many families. And we ask the family to go there back, we help them to go back, to say Kaddish for the first time, and to make a small family memorial with little money, something that cannot be destroyed. Yeah.
You ever encountered any testimony where either not knowing or they weren't from?
Yeah, of course. We are investigators, 20 years of investigation. So I met people who say the truth, I've met people who lie. I will give you an example. I was in a family and I was interviewing somebody and in the farm, and suddenly she said, "Don't stay in my farm," because in front of me, this family was hosting Jews and killing them. So I stopped the interview. I crossed the street with my camera, and the lady told me, "I know where you come, father, because they told us that Jews were killed in our family." I said, "Is it true?" She told me, "Yes." I said, "Many Jews died in your family?" She told me, "Yes." And she told me, "Surely you committed suicide." So I understood I couldn't tell her the family killed and she would deny. So in that way, you have to turn around the bit to find the facts. So I say, "Ma'am, it must have been embarrassing to have dead Jews every morning in your farm." She told me, "I will show you." She put her boots, her jacket. She said, "I carried the corpse myself." And we went at the end of the village. She showed 18 small mass graves. But in this case, I couldn't make her say my family killed her because I wanted to find the corpse. Sometimes you have the choice to find the guilt or the facts. And sometimes you have to make like even you agree to the Jews, because you must understand they don't know who we are. They ask only, "Are there Jews in your organization? Are there Germans in your organization?" They hate both. They hate both. Yeah.
You say, don't wait too long. Hey, what is-
First, to teach the new generation not to be paranoid, because people are afraid and paranoid is not good, but not also to be dreaming. And but you know, I say that because I teach in Georgetown, so I see my students. In Georgetown it's very expensive tuition, etc. And people have traveled all over the world. But I teach people who are studying security. And when I begin to tell you how many terrorist organizations actually in America, what's the list of the name? So there is a certain way not to think about. So you must understand the killers, they know we try not to think about them. It's harmful. We saw shooting at the TV, we say, it's too difficult to watch. But the mass killers, they don't care. They know we make anything to think to the swimming pool, to the next holidays, to the dog, to my business, and that's it. So we need a minority to study them and to know what to do. You know, me, I know very well Israel. In Israel, they cannot dream. You cannot dream. If they begin to dream, you will disappear. If all Israeli society say, "It's okay now, it's okay." I remember, I will give you an example. During Oslo time, you know the Treaty of Oslo. Me, it happened, I was invited to celebrate the wedding by a French Catholic wedding in Gaza. So I went in Gaza, so it was a nightmare. And after the wedding, it was a Catholic wedding, but completely protected behind walls. They invited me to a big Palestinian meeting. I will never forget that. It was in a beautiful restaurant in Gaza, because there are two Gaza in the north. And so I was invited in a meeting. It was leadership. I never knew why I was invited there. It was a long time ago, in the time of us. And I heard they saying, "We got that with peace, we got the rest with the war." I came back to Paris, I remember, I met one of my friends who was diplomat at the embassy of Israel. He told me, "Patrick, what did you say? You met people from Likud." I said, "No, I met the Arabs." I say that because, you know, now I couldn't be on both sides. But at the period, I was really traveling on both sides. So when you are like that, you cannot dream. But today, it's the same. In France, I cannot publicly, you know, people know I work with the Jews, I work in Iraq. So police comes 2 times per day in my house to see if I am okay. I have an apartment 7 minutes on foot from my job. They ask me not to walk in the city. I take an Uber 2 times a day. I cannot walk. I cannot walk.
And we are near Paris, I have 5 minutes from Paris. Today, I cannot disclose what I received. I received a phone call from an authority of the state who told me be very, very careful, Father Patrick, and phone to us at any moment in the night if something happens. We are in that situation, and I'm not Jew. If I was Jew and Rabbi, don't tell me what would be the situation. It's why I say they want the Jew to go. Go from France, go from Palestine, go from anywhere. And sooner or later we say go from America, because it will be like a cage. It's normal, I would say. You must be realist. And I would say train young leaders who are strong. Because what we are all missing is leaders. Your country is missing leaders. My country is missing leaders. Germany is missing leaders. We have no leaders. You see your age of the candidate in your country. And you can look at the news in France with President Macron. I like Macron, but cannot win this leadership anymore. So the Jews will have the same question. We must train a few leaders. I don't think that everybody can think about that. People prefer to think the wedding, to the swimming pool, to the holidays in Cancun. It's okay. Do it. But we need a minority of shomer, people who are keeping the others. It means to be conscient, to learn about the actual dangers, to know how they did before, because the killers, they know, they repeat only, to build the leadership. You know, me, I teach since 8 years in Georgetown. I would say what student per 5 has changed his vision and his orientation for a job. I ever work in security, I ever work in big NGO or Jewish organization. And they are the people I watch. And I stay in contact, even 5 years after they left university. Because you will need leaders, we will need leaders.
After the testimonies, those people have passed and there's not much time left. Are you guys is the organization going to continue to use technology to find the masqueraders?
No. For the moment, what we are making is raising money quickly to find the last masquerade. We are nearly finished. You must understand countries like Belarus is finished. For example, Russia is finished. Even if Putin was not making the war, it was finished. We found the last masquerade. Poland is not finished. Lithuania is not finished. Estonia is not finished. It's why we are running to finish it. And after we are working with modern way, making it accessible for anybody online.
But there's no commemoration in these places. Yeah.
We are kilometers from that. She told me the priest, she didn't know me, so nobody could me back. She said a priest, we can do this. So the rabbi will speak.
So. I hope that I can encourage each of you to stay for just a couple more minutes. It is Holocaust Memorial Day, Yom Hashoah, which is a sacred day on the Jewish calendar. And I'm now going to call forward Ari Cole, who's going to lead us in a very brief ceremony where we light candles.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming out. I want to thank Father Patrick Walker for a great speech. Thank you for all the work you do as well. And I want to call forward, we have 6 candles, and it's traditional Jewish ceremonies. You light 1 candle for each million. I'm going to call up 6 different people to light each of those candles. I'd like to start by calling up 2 brothers from Catholic Student Association who are here to light the first 2 candles. Like I said, I'd like to call upon the Rutgers University Student Assembly President, Vice President. To
Hello.
Finally,
How are
you? Rutgers Hillel.
Good, Baruch Hashem. Yes. Yes, thank you. So you had told me to contact you about Hertz. That's fine. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you, Baruch Hashem.
I sent her a text.
Okay. How many does it sleep?
So I'll tell you what I saw, there were 4 beds.
Okay. So this is somebody's apartment?
Yeah, I want to pick everything out. Thank you.